Hey everybody, welcome back to a new video from the G5 Family channel. Thanks for clicking in. I hope you find this helpful or at least informative and maybe even a little bit entertaining. I'm going to talk today about age gap relationships. Now before I get into my talk, I wanted to share my backdrop here is not a green screen. This is real world. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening and we're enjoying our vacation here in Sapale City. And we had dinner a little while ago. All of the karaoke's have cranked up on the other end of the beach. So I decided to come over here and enjoy the sound of the ocean and do a little talking video about age gap relationships. Now, I don't follow a whole lot of the YouTubers. I do keep up with a handful. There are some that I like to watch their videos. But I hear it come up and I see it in my recommended videos a lot about the whole age gap issue. And I always think to myself, yeah, I mean, you know, if I'm 56 years old, if I think about American culture and I think about how age gap marriages, and by the way, for those of you, most of you will know what I mean by age gap, but for those of you who don't, I'm just talking about marriages where the husband and the wife are, you know, substantially different in years. In other words, you know, you have a 50-year-old man married to a 30-year-old woman. So, you know, that kind of a thing. And then, of course, there's all of the extremes. There's the 70-plus-year-old guy married to an 18-year-old and all of the date ranges in between. I am in what would be considered an age gap marriage. But after 10 years of marriage, I can honestly say that it's just a number, and that sounds so cliche, and I hate speaking in cliche, but it's really true. I can say there's been no negative impact. I had people tell me early on that once I brought her to the U.S., that her eyes might go, whoa, hey, looky here, and she might seek out a younger guy, you know, or whatever. The other thing is, the positive, I guess I could say, is, you know, especially once we got married, we immediately started having kids, and we have 3. And just having kids has kept me sort of young in spirit. And I'm happy about that because I could have easily just stayed focused on work and kind of evolved into, you know, the old boring man lifestyle kind of a thing. But I enjoy the chaotic life of having 3 young kids, and honestly it's more fun than chaos. It really is. But getting back to, so, you know, there is a perception and there's a negative perception. I did meet with some negative reaction. But you know, I want to sort of take that and set that aside and then move into a different area of discussion with regard to age gap. I see a lot of comments, you know, about she's only marrying for his money or for his pension. She's only marrying to get a green card or U.S. citizenship. She's only marrying for those kind of motivations. Okay, so then what's the other side of the bargain? If that's what she's after, then what is he after? Ultimately, you have 2 parties that are bargaining for a deal. And that's true in any marriage. You know, yes, there's a initial foundation around attraction. Then there's a secondary layer to the foundation on character and ethics, those kinds of things. And then there's another layer of foundation on reliability, dependability, trustworthiness, those kinds of things. So in any marriage, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what your ages are, those are the foundational pieces to establishing that relationship, establishing that marriage, right? And so the age gap thing, then it becomes like, okay, so what's in it for me? If we want to speak selfishly, and by the way, when we're making these kind of decisions, we are thinking selfishly, even if we don't want to admit it. because before true deep love sets in, there has to be a maturity in the relationship. And that doesn't happen overnight. Sure, we feel love, we feel in love, we feel all of those feelings, but true love doesn't set in until later. And that's the reality. So again, going back to the whole bargaining thing, if we, I'll just say we guys, want to throw out that the younger girl is only interested in the older guy's assets, okay, well then what is he interested in? And then I would ask the question, who's getting the better end of the deal? Now, I'll come back to my situation, and while yes, my wife was interested and concerned about financial stability, but what female is not concerned about financial stability when it comes to having children and when it comes to raising a family? Aren't we all concerned about financial stability? Does that mean she's, to use the term gold digger, she's trying to, well, I don't have any gold, by the way. So if we're talking about the whole bargaining concept, you might ask the question, okay, so if what you say is true and she's not in it for the money, she's not trying to be a gold digger, she's just looking for financial stability, as would any woman, right? Then what are you getting out of the deal? Well, I'm getting a younger woman who had never been married, who did not have children, who did not have, those kinds of histories and, potential issues or potential concerns or potential drama, those kinds of things. So that's a blessing. Now, was I opposed to marrying a single parent? No, I wasn't opposed to that. But it does add a lot of complexity and a lot of decision making to that process. The other thing I get out of it is, as I get older and get decrepit, I know with all of my heart that she's going to take care of me. And she's going to continue to take care of our children. Essentially, you have the whole misperception of the age gap relationship. Sure, there are those cases where there is that negative stuff happening. Yeah, I guess if I wanted to wrap up this whole talk and try to give you a summary of my feelings, number one, is live and let live. No judgment. Number two, in my personal experience, the age gap has been way more a positive and zero negative. She makes me laugh and she keeps me active, where it would really be easy for me to sit back and recline and just enjoy the History Channel, or whatever. She keeps me hopping and I like that. The kids keep me hopping and I like that. So those are real positives in my opinion. And then on the negative side, I would just say, to each his own. You live your life, we'll live ours. I would encourage those who might not like the idea to try not to be judgmental about it, but just try to take it at face value. I say it a lot. It sort of feels like a too good to be true type of scenario, but I can assure you it is too good to be true, except it's not too good to be true. If you are in your 40s or your 50s and you're, home alone and you're dreaming of this sort of a lifestyle and, having a wife who loves you and takes care of you, then I would kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I would suggest you give it a thought, and you might be surprised at just how wonderful it can be. Our YouTube channel is not all about rainbows and butterflies, but it's about real life and real family life. We don't really get off into these deep type kind of talks, in every video, but I like sharing my perspective, and as I see these kind of talks and these kind of issues, I just like to throw my 2 cents in and just say, hey, you know what? Try not to be judgmental. Try to see both sides of the and look for the positives. Try not to always focus on the negatives, because negatives are easy, but the positives are usually more real. So anyway, with that, I'm going to wrap up. on our little vacation here. We have 2 more days and then we'll be headed back home. And I have to say that as much as I'm enjoying myself, I am looking forward to getting back home at the same time and getting back into a normal routine again. But this has been extremely refreshing, relaxing, enjoyable. The kids they beg us continuously to go swimming. We have not been able to keep them out of the water for 5 minutes. And so it's been a lot of fun. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe. If you haven't already, hit that like button. We'll see you in the next video. All right, thanks.